Can MMA fighting be considered a ministry?
I believe in God. I believe that He's the one that's blessed me with these talents. And He's the one that ultimately gives me strength to use these talents in a way that honors and pleases Him. Does that always result in a victory? No. I don't use God as a good luck charm, and just because I'm praying to Him means I'm going to win, I don't believe in that. Victory isn't everything. To me, at this point, got to get those wins. But I believe if I train in a way that says thank you to God for giving me these abilities, and fight in a way that says thank you, and if I take that same philosophy and principle to everything I do in life, and I just want to, it's my way of saying thank you to God for what He's done for me, for what He's given me, that's going to allow me to perform to the best of my ability. The act of punching somebody in the face, or the act of cutting somebody, or drawing blood, and honoring God don't go together in most people's minds. But once again, the skill set of boxing, the skill set of wrestling, the skill set of submissions, the skill set of using a body that was given to me by God, and the talents. If you watch a fight, you will see that this is not just two guys getting out there and just bashing on each other. It's two highly trained athletes that spend a whole lot of time in the gym, 6, 7, 8 hours a day, working on different skill sets. When you look at all those skill sets and you combine them together, that is what fighting is all about. And that's a skill set that God has given me that I want to use to honor and please Him.
I've been working with Shamar probably about off and on for about 6 months, I think. A lot more of lately, working on his hands, his balance a little bit more. Throwing fluid combinations, a little bit of head movement back and forth. Try to give him just a little bit more movement, a little bit more defense, a little bit more sitting down on his punches to increase his power. All we're doing is fine-tuning his physical attributes that he has, giving him confidence in his punching. He's got the wrestling down pat, so we're just making him stronger as a fighter and a boxer. He's pretty much the total package once we get him fine-tuned.
I've been to see Shamar fight. It was exciting. It was cool to know somebody in the cage going at it. I mean, it was because I know what kind of guy he is to hang out with. Very mild-mannered. He's very laid back, and I think most guys in his position, most guys that are as athletic, as strong as he is, I think they tend to be just kind of lay low, but. On paper and looking at the guy he fought, I thought he would have tore him, limb from limb in the first 2 minutes. But the guy put up a good fight. Dude laid on his back a lot, and I remember he caught Shamar. I don't know if it was a knee or elbow. Caught Shamar into the eye, and Shamar, he was bleeding a lot. And he was never in danger physically. He was just fighting, but they were getting ready to call the fight. He was bleeding and bleeding. The refs looking at him, kept looking at him, get it cleaned up, and he finally came out the winner in the end. I don't think he knocked him out. I don't think the guy tapped it. I think it was by decision, but he won, and it was neat to share that with Shamar.
With the success in fighting locally, Shamar then set his sights on bigger venues and more experienced opponents. He knew that to make money, he would have to expose himself to an audience bigger than that of Indianapolis.
It's a long road, you have to fight, you have to build up a compilation of fights locally, kind of build it kind of like a resume. Obviously you got to keep winning, but then the big organizations look at who you're beating, how you're beating them. And then, so basically I just compiled a good record, beat some guys that are pretty tough, but not, world renowned. Was able to fight overseas for M1, which is affiliated with Strikeforce, and we approached them. My manager approached them in the UFC, and Strikeforce were the first people to act on it, and presented me with a 4-fight contract, and we were happy with what was on the table, and we signed it. Gotta take a shot at the big time and show people on a larger stage of competition what you can do, and hope that that will lead to bigger and better things. Excuse me, initially, my first fight against John Koloski with Strikeforce, I would try to approach it like any other fight. I'll be honest with you. You don't want to put one fight on the pedestal. Every fight is an important fight. The fight in front of you is your most important fight. If you lose, you don't know what's going to happen with your career, you know. But with that, it was on a big card. The main event was Fedor versus Rogers, you know. I didn't realize how much pressure was going to be until I got to Chicago, where the event took place. And I just wanted to show everything that I've worked on, you know. And you have 15 minutes to show everything you've worked on for the last 3 months. In reality, the amount of time that you've been a fighter, for me, that's 3 years. Really, the mentality of a fighter, man, it's crazy. You know, things you go through. I spent a lot of time by myself at home, you know, after training, and just had a lot of thoughts running through my head. And you know, like I said, my family's on the East Coast. Can't really talk to too many people about it. Then it was funny because you come to work and now all of a sudden you're worried about getting hurt. And you know, if I get hurt, I won't be able to fight. You know, so you gotta control your thoughts there because you want to do your job to the best of your ability. Just I don't know, there's a lot of pressure there. You know, there's some things I could have done differently in that fight. Would have done it differently, but fortunately it came away with the win, and it wasn't a dominating fashion. And hopefully I can show some of the other things that we've been working on in this next fight with Strikeforce. Now I got that win under my belt.
But what happens when the fighting career ends? What happens when Shamar Bailey can no longer fight?
I've seen myself either going to ministry in the church or doing some counseling, working with kids again. But at this point, I just don't know. It's all in God's hands. I've realized as I've grown older, I'm not that old, but through firefighting, through fighting, this stuff changes you, man. You know, I used to think it wouldn't, but it does. And you know, you got to be tough to do them both. And so, who knows what kind of man I'll be when I'm 35 or 40? You know, who knows? So, hopefully, I'm trying to live my life in a way that will allow me to be effective when fighting is over, be effective when firefighting is over. But you know, only God knows, you know, where I'll be in life and what He can do with what that is.
Shamar Bailey is a complex man. He is a mixture of brutality and compassion, brains and brawn. Not many people can ground and pound an opponent, then pray for them after a fight. Then again, Shamar is used to being unconventional. Learning about his upbringing, who he has surrounded himself with, how he trains, when he trains, how he worships, everything points to a dedicated man. All the people I met on this documentary wanted to talk about Shamar and tell me about the man they admired. They all wanted to tell me about his dedication and heart. I didn't come across a person that questioned his desire or ethics. However, I am still left with a feeling of awe and confusion. Awe in that working several jobs, helping people both as a coach and as a firefighter, training constantly, all take more dedication than most men can endure. But my confusion comes from where this motivation begins. What inspires him? I get the feeling that he is truly led and inspired by God. However, every hero has a flaw. A hero's journey is filled with many trials and temptations, but every hero, it seems, has a flaw. Whether it be a professional athlete succumbing to performance-enhancing drugs or a congressman being swayed by a bribe, all heroes have a downfall. And that is where the confusion comes in. In spending many, many hours with this man, I have not found a major flaw. He truly is a man led by principles and never seems to let his guard down. It seems like he understands that he is a walking billboard for what a Christian role model should be. Competitive, compassionate, confident, but never boastful, violent, and yet loving. Shamar Bailey, born to fight, and his spiritual journey continues.
I guess I didn't know. I guess I didn't know. I guess I didn't know. I guess I didn't know.
Get busy time.